Japan is often described as safe, modern, and advanced. When it comes to gender equality, it ranks near the bottom of global developed countries. According to the World Economic Forum's 2025 Global Gender Gap Report, Japan ranks 118th out of 148 countries. The UK ranks 4th, Germany 9th, the United States 42nd. My country, Canada, ranks 32nd, solidly middle of the pack, but nothing to brag about at a dinner party either. Today, I'm joined by journalist Aki Shibuya, and we're asking why with someone who can answer from the inside.
Thank you for having me. This is a topic I feel strongly about, so I'm glad we're having this conversation.
Let's start with something I think surprises a lot of people outside of Japan. This is a wealthy, modern, highly educated country, and yet the gender gap numbers are stark. 118th in the world, last in the G7. You live and work here in the media. Does the gap feel as wide as those numbers would suggest?
Well, from inside Japan, Jeff, daily life doesn't look that bad. Women work, women vote, women are visible, but you notice things. Turn on Japanese TV and you'll see men cast as the main host almost every time, and women in supporting roles. Because here, it's not enough to be good at your job. You also need to be young and cute and agreeable. The gap is real. It shows up in pay, in promotion, in political power. And because it's so deeply embedded in the system, that's exactly what makes it so hard to change.
Is feminism viewed differently here in Japan than it is in the West?
I'd say so. Many women here hesitate to call themselves feminists. The word gets associated with being confrontational, challenging tradition and making noise. Young women are using it differently. They talk about the right to choose and the right to be equal. Japan doesn't need a revolution. It needs women to feel that wanting equality is normal and not radical.
I think one of the most telling data points is something called the M-shaped curve. Women enter the workforce, many leave after childbirth, some return, but often part-time in lower paid, non-regular jobs. Graph it by age and the line dips and then rises again, forming that shape of an M. It's actually improved. In 2006, just over 60% of Japanese women aged 30 to 34 were in paid work. By 2023, that had risen to 80%. Here's what hasn't changed: the type of work. Women who return to the workforce are far more likely to come back as non-regular employees. Part-time, contract, lower pay, fewer benefits, no path to management. Men stay in regular employment at close to 90%, well through their 50s. Women drop below that, especially after their 30s. Does that seem true to you?
Well, Jeff, women leave because the expectation is still that mothers handle everything by themselves by default. There's actually a Japanese word for it: one-ope, borrowed from the English phrase one-person operation. It means she does everything alone. She makes the bento boxes, does the chores, takes the kids to kindergarten, and then goes to her job. And the idea that this is a choice, I don't think that holds up. Well, for example, Waseda University economist Hideo Owan found one of the main reasons women earn less than men is not skill or performance, it's how much time she can commit. And the corporate attitude makes it worse.
We often hear the word culture as an explanation. Traditional roles, gender norms, expectations that are passed down through generations. Is the term culture sometimes used as a reason not to act?
The cost of not acting is becoming very clear. Now, there was a survey done in 2025 by Roto Pharmaceutical. More than 60% of young women in Japan don't want to have children. That's not a cultural shift. That's a rational response to a system that makes motherhood and career feel incompatible.
Japan's birth rate keeps falling. The government says it wants more children. It's designed expensive policies aimed at encouraging families. But many women say the system makes combining work and family just exhausting and not worth it. Japan's 2025 white paper on gender equality found that wives in every prefecture spend more than 210 minutes more per day on housework than husbands. Every prefecture.
The cost, financially and professionally, is just too high. Many women do handle the kids, the house, the husband, PTA meetings, visits to parents and in-laws, on top of work. But many can't, and it's simply not fair, and that's exactly the point. In recent years, more men's bathrooms have diaper-changing tables. It is a small sign, and it encourages male participation, but we need more than that.
The WEF's 2025 report notes that more women in Japan are entering management roles. Women's economic participation scores have risen from 56.8 to 61.3% in a single year. Japan set a target of 50% of new fathers taking paternity leave by 2025. It didn't get there. But uptake has jumped from 17% in 2022 to over 40% in 2024. And among civil servants, 85.9% took paternity leave last year, already hitting the 2030 target. But if we zoom out to the political picture, the numbers go the other way. Political empowerment actually went backwards. The share of women in ministerial positions fell from 25% to just 10% in 1 year.
Win a little, lose a little. But what's for sure is that targets are being set, and there's consensus that change is necessary.
Japan elected its first female prime minister, Sanae Takaichi. She appointed just 2 women to her cabinet, despite the campaign promises to reach Nordic levels. Women hold just under 16% of seats in the lower house of the Diet. The global average is over 27%. Takaichi led the LDP to its largest parliamentary majority in post-war history, 316 of 465 seats. That's more legislative power than any of her male predecessors, and yet gender equality still isn't on the agenda.
Takaichi has been driven and ambitious her whole career. That's something anyone can applaud. She's a symbol, but not yet a win for gender equality. Miyako Nakabayashi, a professor at Waseda and former Diet member, has called it illusory politics. The LDP needed a new face to signal the party had changed.
1 female prime minister in 80 years of post-war history. Is that a breakthrough, or does it tell us how high the bar still is?
So she's broken the glass ceiling, but we have to wait and see if other women can follow. I recently attended a cross-party study group of female lawmakers, 10 parties in the room. The concern I heard was the momentum toward gender equality that existed before Takaichi had faded. You wouldn't believe it, but nearly 60 female lawmakers had to petition Parliament to just get more women's restrooms. The Diet building was built before women had the right to vote. 2 cubicles for 73 female lawmakers. Seiko Noda from the LDP said something that stuck with me. And she said it was atarimae no koto, a matter of course. And what she meant by that was that now that there is a female prime minister, her fellow male lawmakers had to get used to the idea that there is a woman at the top and she makes the call. Japan now has its first female prime minister. That's a start, regardless of your politics.
Do you see it changing?
I have to say I'm optimistic. Japan's declining population may actually force real change. The breakthrough opportunity nobody expected. Every woman is different. Not all want to be a working mother. But the choice should be hers, and the opportunity has to be there for the choice to mean anything.
Well, Japan has the legal framework for equality. It certainly has the wealth. But transforming power structures is harder than passing laws. Aki, thanks so much for joining us today and for putting up with all my questions.
Thank you so much for having me, and you'll be hearing more of this.
And from the Japan Today newsroom here in Tokyo, I'm Jeff Richards. See us next time.